Hello everyone, welcome back to CNA, the daily newspaper analysis. The date is 11th of November. These are my working experiences. You may go through it. I'd like to inform the new viewers that you can download this PDF by joining our WhatsApp group or our Telegram channel. There are also other various platforms through which you can connect with us. I'd also like to inform about our IGP program, which is going on with full swing. So those of you are interested, you may go through the registration process. The registration process is completely free. So you may go through it and avail this benefit. So this is our contents page. So we will be discussing these topics today. So let's start with our first topic, which is our India's steel sector. So the headline says that the steel sector growth vital for massive investments in infrastructure, says Piyush Goyal. So what happened is there, why it was in the news, is that there was a conclave, which is the fourth ISS steel conclave. Okay, fourth ISS steel conclave, very important for your previous point of view. So this conclave urged steel firms to increase capacities to double India's critical infrastructure input output to 300 million tons a year by 2030. So annually 300 million tons ke capacity increase koribole koise amar steel industries bilakot. Jodi ami sao present scenario hisabe tetia hole India is the second largest producer of crude steel. India is the second largest producer of crude steel globally and has seen a 75% growth in steel production since 2008. The country's steel industry is driven by the availability of cheap labor and raw materials like iron ore. The National Steel Policy aims to produce 255 million tons of finished steel, 300 million metric tons crude steel capacity, and a robust 158 kg per capita steel consumption. Okay, so our finished steel amounts to about 255 million tons. Then our crude steel amar 300 million tons. Then again, into per capita consumption, okay, each and every individual jiman khini consumes kore he hisabe jodi ami sao that accumulates to about 158 kg per capita consumption. Okay, so sabo gole ta consumption to amar bahut kom hoise bortoman, so we should increase tetia hai amar steel sector to grow koribole paribo bhal. Significance যদি আমি চাওঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে এইটো আমাৰ কাৰণে বহুত এটা ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট এটা sector হয়. It is a very crucial material globally, not only nationally but globally. It plays a very vital role in sectors like construction, infrastructure, automobile, engineering, and defense as well. তারপরে যদি আমি চাওঁ আমাৰ ইণ্ডিয়াৰ যিটো steel industry হয়, that contributes about 2% of the country's GDP. 2% of the country's GDP in the financial year of 2021 to 2022. But whatever it is, it still faces some significant barriers. So challenges thakibo, definitely there are challenges. So কিছুমান challenges আছে বা কিছুমান barriers আছে বুলি ক'ব পাৰা. Like first of all, যদি আমি চাওঁ কেনেকুৱা challenges বিলাকৰ ভিতৰত is like the amount, the high cost. So around 7,000 crores, okay, 7,000 crores for a 1-ton capacity plant এটা দৰকাৰ পৰিছে. And apart from that, the cyclical demand is it. So still is not like 24/7 365 days that demand the same থাকে তেনেকুৱা নহয়. কিছুমান peak time থাকে, peak months থাকে, peak days থাকে. So it is a cyclical demand. And apart from that, কিছুমান other factors আছে like the monsoon. Then the monsoon কাৰণে বহুতখিনি financial market বিলাক ইফাল সিফাল হৈ যায়. So it creates a financial strain for the steel plants. Moving on, India's low per capita steel consumption at 86.7 kgs reflects the economic disparities and diminishes the incentive to establish large-scale steel plants. China যদি আমি চাওঁ, Chinaৰ per capita যেটো consumption আছে সেইখিনি বহুতখিনি অধিক হয়. It's a high per capita income আছে ইহঁতৰ লগতে, and also it shows a more robust steel demand. So ইহঁতৰ ফালে demand বেছি and ইহঁতৰ per capita income বেছি. So that's why ইহঁতৰ steel sector still is going very good. But India কিছুমান বস্তু lack কৰি আছে like in technology, okay, then in R&D, research and development, then reliance on the international research, then traditional concrete-based construction methods, okay, these are some of the things that is hindering the steel industry's growth. And apart from that, also the outdated and the polluting technologies also contribute to the sector's unattractiveness. Moving on, environmental concern was a So the steel industry is still one of the largest carbon dioxide producers. It is facing a decarbonization challenge right now to reduce its environmental and economic impact. So starting from January 1st, January 1st of our start over, it is to decarbonization or challenge it will start over from January 1st, 2026. So the there will be a carbon tax. So carbon tax এটা collect কৰা যাব কিহৰ ওপৰত on ষ্টিলৰ ওপৰত, এলুমিনিয়ামৰ ওপৰত, চিমেণ্টৰ ওপৰত, ফাৰ্টিলাইজাৰ, হাইড্ৰজেন এণ্ড ইলেক্ট্ৰিচিটি। চ' এইখিনি ৰিলেটেড যিখিনি আমাৰ ইণ্ডাষ্ট্ৰিজ আছে তাৰে পৰা কাৰ্বন টেক্স এটা কালেক্ট কৰা যাবগে। চ' ইটছ এ ভেৰি গুড থিং। চ' কাৰ্বন টেক্সৰ কথা যদি আপোনালোকে নাজানে তেতিয়াহ'লে আপোনালোকে চাই লওক এণ্ড ৰাইট ইট ডাউন ইন দ্য কমেণ্ট ছেকশ্যন that what do you mean by carbon tax. It is very, very mandatory as an aspirant for you to know about carbon tax. So apart from that, আমাৰ গভৰ্ণমেণ্টৰ কিছুমান ইনিচিয়েটিভছ আছে, ইনিচিয়েটিভছ খিনি কি ইয়াতে গোটেই এটা পইণ্ট ৱাইজ দিয়া আছে, এবাৰ চাই। There is also a means practice question given here. Please write it down, please attempt and send it to us. There is also a PYQ, previous year's question. Okay, now let's move on to the next topic of the day. Next news is India's falling farm exports. So, yete koa goise amar Department of Commerce koise that there is a marginal dip, okay, there is a marginal dip tolole gusi goise in the agricultural trade surplus between April September 2023, with exports of farm commodities failing below the previous year's total of USD 26.7 billion and imports decreasing from USD 19.3 billion to USD 16.2 billion. So definitely we can consider that this is a marginal dip. Now, apart from that, let's move on to the next slide. The reasons behind failing farm exports. So our ultimately our problems code ase. Ekhini jodi ami sao tetiahole ami hokole gom pao that আমাৰ কিছুমান ৰেষ্ট্ৰিকশ্যনছ বিলাক, বেনছ বিলাক আমাৰ গভৰ্ণমেণ্টে চেঞ্জ কৰিছিলে। চ' সেইটো এটা ওৱান অফ দ্য মেজৰ ৰিজনছ হয়। চ' ইণ্ডিয়াছ এগ্ৰিকালচাৰ এক্সপৰ্টছ ডিক্ৰিজ 11.6% from April September 2023 due to government bans, okay, due to government bans and restrictions on wheat, rice and sugar, okay. So এইবোৰ ৰেষ্ট্ৰিকশ্যন বিলাকৰ কাৰণে কি হ'ল আমাৰ এক্সপৰ্ট বিলাক কমি গ'ল, okay। আৰু কিছুমান এক্সপৰ্ট বিলাক আমাৰ একেবাৰে prohibit কৰি দিয়া গৈছিলে, like the white non-basmati rice, okay, then sugar export as well. So sugar export আমাৰ কি কৰিছিলে ban কৰি দিছিলে, broken rice আমাৰ কি কৰিছিলে ban কৰি দিছিলে, okay, while আৰু এইখিনি হৈছিলে in the aftermath of the Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So Russia যিটো আমাৰ global যিটো war চলি আছে, global বুলি ক'ব পাৰে to some extent. So Russia যিটো আমাৰ invasion চলি আছিলে ইউক্ৰেইনৰ ওপৰত, সেই তাৰ পাছতে এইবোৰ এগ্ৰিকালচাৰ চেক্টৰত not only in India but বহুত কেইটা কাণ্ট্ৰিজত সিহঁতৰ এগ্ৰিকালচাৰ চেক্টৰত বহুত বেয়াকে হিট কৰিছে, okay। Moving on, the impact of global prices on declining food export যদি আমি চাওঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে ইণ্ডিয়াৰ যিটো ফাৰ্ম আছে, ইণ্ডিয়াৰ ফাৰ্মতো যথেষ্টখিনি এটা ইম্পেক্ট পৰিছে। However, as the index reached unprecedented levels in 2022 to 2023, okay, the value of both the exports and imports is expected to decrease in 2023 to 2024. So yate aru kisman details dia ase about the imports and exports. So ebar apnaloke sai lobo. Now apart from that, this is the main part, the consequences of the declining international prices for Indian agriculture. So this is the most important part. So yate jodi ami sao India's agricultural exports are facing a price crash, okay, amar yate price crash eta amar India's export business amar face kori ase, which is ultimately lowering their competitiveness and increasing vulnerability to imports. Cotton exports also amar bahut beake drop ho gase. Cotton exports have dropped 2.5 times between 2021 to 2022 and 2022 to 2023. But edible oil যিখিনি আছে edible oil imports বিলাক কিন্তু ডাবল হৈ গৈছে between 2019-20 to 2022-23 so despite আমাৰ এইখিনি যিখিনি হৈছে সেইখিনি যদি still আমি যদি চাওঁ despite the collapse in prices the crude palm soybean and sunflower oil imports remain at a low 5.5% duty on them. Okay, there's some good news and some bad news as well, but good news যদি আমি চাওঁ somehow good news এটা পাই আছো but overall যদি আমি চাওঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে agriculture sector is not doing good specifically after the Russia-Ukraine war. Moving on, যদি আমি চাওঁ গভৰ্ণমেণ্টৰ আৰু কি কেনে ধৰণৰ কনচাৰ্ন বিলাক আছে procedural concerns so গভৰ্ণমেণ্টৰ কেনে ধৰণৰ কনচাৰ্নছ আছে the government's focus on controlling food inflation okay food inflation and prioritizing consumer interests over producers means imports of edible oil and pulses will continue while restrictions on cereals sugar and onion exports will be restrictions will also be there okay so ultimately ekhini jodi ami sao tetiahole it will impact GDP growth negative so ate jodi ami sao government or main concern ki hot ase main concern ase upon the consumers but okol consumer upon main concern rakhile GDP to bhal nohobo nohoy jano gotike not only the consumers but jikhini amar manufacturers ase okay jikhini amar manufacturers ase ba amar jikhini amar producers আছে সিহঁতৰ ওপৰতে সিহঁতৰ বেনিফিটছৰ কথা চাব লাগিব তেতিয়াহে ওভাৰঅল সবকা সাথ সবকা বিকাশ হ'বগে so that's our PYQ এটা দি থোৱা আছে এবাৰ চাই ল'ব okay let's move on to our third topic which is the national security strategy so this is very very interesting it is important for the IS portion internal security portion okay so news of ke liye asile because ultimately India have thought even though it's a bit late আৰু আগতে ইন্ডিয়া ট্ৰাই কৰিছিলে but ultimately India have process to start কৰিছে of bringing in a national security strategy ঠিক আছে এটা national security strategy so এটো কি হয় that আমাৰ ইন্ডিয়াৰ assets বিলাক ক'ত কেনেকে থাকিব লাগে ইন্ডিয়া কি হিচাপে কি কৰিব লাগে it's more like a protocol নিচিনা বনাই আছে but এটো এটা national wide এটা protocol এটা হ'ব in a national security strategy বুলি হেতু আমি কোৱা যায় so this is the first time that India will come out with a national security strategy agoto India bahut bar try korise we will study about that as well but NSS is the first so definitely apnaloke bhabibo pare that NSS ba national security strategy pura question aha chances jotheshto ase now let's have a look about the national security strategy so hoy ki national security strategy hoy ki so ultimately tar main objectives okay ki outline kore ba main objective jodi ami sao tetiahole it considers both the traditional and non traditional threats okay so traditional threat aro non traditional threat mane ki ase yate apnaloga likha ase ebar sai lobo so both the traditional and non traditional threats and aligns with India's constitution and democratic principles okay it aligns with India's constitution and its democratic principles it also includes that threat assessment so eta threat ahile threat to bhalke properly assess kora okay then amar jikhini resources ase he resource kini bhalke allocation kora then also amar jikhini security policies etia di ase like the diplomatic hok ba military policies hok hebilakok bhalke assess kora so he hokolo kam kini code kora jabo under the national security strategy okay so that is why it is important now apart from that let's move on to the next slide so yes India have previously also bahut bar attempt korise India national security strategy bonabor karon okay so tate jodi ami sao aji tarikholeke the Kargil review committee report ba the Naresh Chandra task force ba the national security advisory board or jikhini drafts ase hekhini ba lieutenant general amar jitu ase DS Hudda tekheto eta document banaise very recently in 2019 okay so hebilakor through amar India NSS bonabor karone eta attempt korisilage but however the formation of a formal NSS has not been immediate despite various government proposals suggested outline so suggested outline ki ase ami jodi sao suggested outline so ultimately ei NSS ot thakibole ki lage ওকে, সেইখিনি যদি আমি চাওঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে এটা প্ৰপাৰ ডেফিনেশ্যন লাগে, নহয় জানো? এটা প্ৰপাৰ ৱৰ্কিং ডেফিনেশ্যন লাগে of national security and the national security objectives. Then apart from that, a proper understanding লাগে of the emerging security environment. Then again, the assessment এটা লাগে of the national strengths and weaknesses. অকল strengths কথা ভাবিলে নহব, weaknesses কথাও ভাবিব লাগিব. And finally, identification of the necessary resources. So আমাৰ লগত যিখিনি resources আছে সেইখিনি ভালকে identify কৰি utilize কৰাটোৱে one of the main objectives of the NSS. Okay, our potential benefits NSS or কি থাকিব আমাৰ ভাৰতত? So ultimately যদি আমি চাওঁ এটা comprehensive framework, okay, এটা comprehensive framework for addressing the security challenges, providing clear objectives, policy guidance, prioritization, resource allocation, deterrence, and a whole of government approach. Okay, whole of government approach. So this is very, very important. Whole of government approach. Okay, now it outlines the assets and traits. Okay, it aids in resource allocation and promotes coordination among multiple government departments and agencies. And apart from that, it also aids in deterring potential adversaries. Challenges. So challenges যদি আমি চাওঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে the NSS in India faces challenges. কেনে ধৰণৰ challenge face কৰে? Like the first is that the ensuring compliance with legal framework. So legal framework হয় না, এইটো বস্তু legal, এইটো হয় নহয়, right? Compliance বিচাৰি থাকোঁতে বহুতখিনি সময় আমাৰ গুচি যায়. Then again, yes, resource allocation to কোৱাতহে easy, but সেইটো যদি ground levelত আমি কৰিব যাওঁ সেইটো বহুত tough. Apart from that, addressing the evolving threats each and every day. আমাৰ threats বিলাক কি হৈছে, change হৈ গৈ আছে, modify হৈ গৈ আছে, evolve হৈ গৈ আছে. So the bureaucratic setup and divergent opinions বিলাকো এটা কথা. So divergent opinions বিলাক কেলে আমাৰ কাৰণে important হয়? কাৰণ military বেলেগ এটা কথা ক'ব, political মানুহবিলাকে বেলেগ এটা কথা ক'ব. So ultimately এটা decisionত আহোঁতে আমাৰ বহুতখিনি time লৈ লোৱা যায়. Okay, now apart from that, conclusionত যদি আমি চাওঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে NSS is very, very important for us. Okay, India's success in আজিৰ তাৰিখত 21st century যদি আমি চাওঁ, India যদি এটা super power বনিবলৈ লাগে তেতিয়াহ'লে it will have to rely on such an anticipatory and flexible NSS, okay, which can better navigate global security landscapes and safeguard its values and interests. So that's for a good conclusion. So here's 2 questions given. So ebar চাই ল'বা তোমালোকে and please practice and give it to me. Okay, let's move on to the fourth news of the day. Horticulture potential in the country and in the state. So আমাৰ অসমৰ কথা যদি আমি চাওঁ তেতিয়া আমাৰ ষ্টেটত আমাৰ যথেষ্টখিনি আমাৰ পটেনচিয়েল আছে, বহুতখিনি আমাৰ ৰিসোৰ্সেস আছে, but still আমাৰ এই সেক্টৰটো ইমানো ভালকে গ্ৰো কৰিবলৈ পৰা নাই. Okay, now let's have a look. So the state government is addressing the low resource utilization efficiency in the horticulture sector despite abundant natural resources, despite its late night efforts. Okay, আমাৰ efficiency বহুত আছে কিন্তু আমাৰ ভালকে ইউটিলাইজ আমি কৰিবলৈ পৰা নাই. Natural resources যথেষ্ট আছে but ভালকে আমি ইউটিলাইজ কৰিবলৈ পৰা নাই. Moving on, the state of horticulture in the state. Okay, so current status যদি আমি চাওঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে the state government is focusing on developing the horticulture sector despite abundant resources, despite 85% growth in exports in the past 6 years. Okay, this is a huge margin. Now, this also includes enhancing skilled manpower and capacity building for the extension workers as well. So there are again some factors that can help improving the horticulture sector. So let's have a look. So can it help over, like for example, this is very important for your prelims point of view as well. The 10th Indian Horticulture Congress, যোনটো নেকি আমাৰ গুৱাহাটীত হৈ আছে আৰু যোনটো নেকি 500 কে বেছি scientists আনামিছে. Okay, কেলে? Simply to develop the strategies for the horticulture sector, focusing on increasing produce, using latest technologies, establishing market links, and addressing the climate change, of course. Okay, so ultimately যদি আমি চাওঁ তাৰ main focus to কি হত আছে? The main focus is on efficient production, then processing and the storage methods. So অসমৰ কথা বাদ দি যদি আমি ইণ্ডিয়াৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত চাওঁ status of horticulture in India তেতিয়াহ'লে India's horticulture production in 2022 reached 341.6 million tons, okay, with fruits and vegetables accounting for 90%. Okay, fruits and vegetables accounting for 90%. আৰু আমাৰ যিখিনি মেইন বা আমাৰ মেজৰ কাল্টিভেশ্যন এৰিয়া যদি আমি চাওঁ দিছ আৰ what Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, UP, Odisha, etc. Now, apart from that, যদি আমি চাওঁ horticulture contributes approximately about 30.4% of the agriculture GDP. Okay, so আমাৰ GDP যিমানখিনি contribution আছে agriculture তাৰে ভিতৰত 30.4% horticulture পৰাই আহে. Okay, apart from that, যদি আমি চাওঁ আমাৰ ranking কিমান আছে India ranking 14th আছে in terms of vegetable and 23rd আছে in terms of fruits. কিন্তু however যদি আমি চাওঁ গোটেই global market তেতিয়াহ'লে India's contribution কিমান only 1%. Okay, the significance of horticulture. The significance of horticulture যদি আমি চাওঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে the food sector provides food security, diversifies farmers' income, supports rural economy development, generates employment, and serves as a significant source of foreign exchange for India. Okay. Now, apart from that, challenges যদি আমি চাওঁ challenges faced by the sector, production challenges in small operational land holdings. Okay. Then ultimately আমাৰ challenges কি আছে যদি আমি চাওঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে আমাৰ প্ৰথম কথাটো হৈছে land availability. So আমাৰ এটা landৰ ইমান এটা availability আমাৰ কম আছে. Okay, insufficient water access as well, lack of institutional credit, climate change, poor logistics, and weak farmer producer organizations. So these all exacerbate the production challenges in small operational landholdings. Okay, so এইখিনি কাৰণে আমাৰ these are some of the challenges that our agriculture sector or our horticulture sector have to deal with. Again, here are some practice questions. Please go through it. Prelims fact. Okay, so we are back again with our prelims fact. The first prelims fact is artificial rain project to combat the Delhi pollution. So Delhi pollution each and every day news bias. So the Delhi government have finally come up, okay, with a solution that is considering artificial rain. That is considering artificial rain through cloud seeding to combat population, to combat the pollution, not population, pollution. The IIT Kanpur has conducted pilot projects during monsoon months, now focusing on winter conditions. Okay, so যিহেতু winter conditions mainly আমাৰ দৰকাৰ পৰে cloud seeding যেতিয়া নেকি আমাৰ dry season চলি থাকে নহয় জানো and particularly কোৱা গৈছে that November 20 and November 21 এই দুটা তাৰিখ এটা favorable condition হ'ব বুলি কোৱা গৈছে. Okay, the effectiveness of artificial rain depends on factors like moisture and rainfall, and apart from that cloud seeding কি use হয় আপোনালোকে নিশ্চয় জানেই চাগে. So the silver iodide. So silver iodide কেনেকে ধৰণৰ use হয়? So silver iodide it acts as a nuclei. এটা nuclei হিচাপে act কৰে. So এটা base এটা বনি যায়. So এই base টোৰ ওপৰত কি হয়? এই base টোৰ ওপৰত আমাৰ various water droplets বিলাক moisture বিলাক আহি পেলাই এই base টোত আহি পেলাই accumulate হৈ যায়. আৰু hydrogen bonding thready সেই বস্তুটো ডাঙৰ হৈ গৈ থাকে. Eventually at the time it becomes so much saturated that eventually it pours down. Okay. Now let's have a look at the second prelims fact, exercise carpet and bongosago. Okay, so bongosago are carpet. Carpet of full meaning coordinated patrol. Okay, so these are two exercises, okay, which are conducting between Indian Navy and Bangladesh Navy, which are conducted in the northern Bay of Bengal from 7 to 9 November. So let's have a look about the exercise. So Hamidudi Sound, this is the 4th and 5th edition. Okay, and আমাৰ যেটো এক্সাৰসাইজ হ'ল তাতে আমাৰ ইন্ডিয়ান নেভি শিপছ বিলাক আছিল কোনখিনি লাইক কুথা কিলটন এন্ড MPA. Okay, মেৰিটাইম পেট্ৰল এয়াৰক্ৰাফ্ট বৰ্ডিয়াৰ. Okay, আৰু যদি বাংলাদেশ সাইডৰ পৰা চাওঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে নেভি শিপছ কি আছিল আবু বকাৰ এন্ড আবু উবৈদা. Okay, so exercises also included the maiden humanitarian assistance and disaster relief drills যেটো আমি HADR বুলি কওঁ. The third fact is the National Education Day, November 11. Also, the birth anniversary of Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. So, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, the first Birth anniversary asle an tekhet asile first education minister, and he was also the youngest person to serve as the president of INC. Okay, so this was very, very important. He was also posthumously awarded the India's highest civilian award, okay, highest civilian honor, Bharat Ratna, in 1990. So this is our academic team. This is our content developing team, our tactical team. That's it for today. Thank you.